So there's been a lot of energies that have been wanting to come out, and it's been difficult for them to show themselves. So I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but I'm just going to shoot anyway because this has been going on. All right. Here, first of all, let's look at them. This also came out too. Actually, that's a lot of cards for it to come out on that first row. We're almost done here. Let's finish the row. All right. That Five of Wands, I see conflict. This Two of Pentacles, I feel like this conflict has caused people to look at either situations or people or things in a totally different way. This Seven of Pentacles typically, this Seven of Pentacles typically is, you know, do I want to put my energy into this? Do I want to, you know, is it worth it? And then we have this Death card in reverse, which typically death would be like an ending and then some kind of beginning. But like I said, I feel like this is kind of almost like an ongoing situation where it's kind of almost like a crossroads. Like this should almost be like the Two of Wands, to where it's like, hey, do I want to keep doing this, right? And then this basically Seven of Pentacles is the same thing. Do I want to keep doing, do I want to do this? And then this is kind of like, to me, ongoing. This Tower is kind of telling me that, okay, well, if this person doesn't want to change anything, if they don't want to get out of whatever it is that they're in because they are comfortable, then I think they're going to be allowed to stay there, because of this Tower is kind of telling me that they're going to lie in whatever bed they make. So it's not like, oh, well, if you don't move, the universe is going to move you. No, the universe is telling you to make a decision, because whatever decision that you make, you're going to be, that's what you're going to do. And then we have this Knight of Cups. Let me actually see what this one says. Oh, romantic, lover, possible player, Prince Charming, proposal, true love, trustworthy. And it's kind of like, oh, is it a player? And it's not, I don't think so. Can you see it? It's the Lover's card. I'm going to push this one over this way a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know that this card here is representative of the person that, like, when I say, hey, should I keep doing this? I'm taking it like it's a person we're deciding on. And for some of you, it is like the person of your dreams, but for some of you, this is the person that's waiting for you if you decide to walk away from what's going on here. Because I feel like, to a certain extent, for some of you, that this Tower is like not an ending, but like a, in a sense, a marking point to that Two of Wands situation that I was talking about. So you either decide or don't decide, right? You don't decide means you kind of just stay in it. So even by lack of decision or lack of involvement, you can't cheat, because you're getting yourself into a situation that you're just going to stay in. Once you pass this point of, okay, the person didn't move, or okay, the person did move, then this is when this is possibly on offer to you, not necessarily. And then I got the Four of Wands in reverse. So this is also telling me that this is a current situation that's going on with someone who they're kind of sitting there with someone saying, do I, you know, should I do this? Should I continue to do this? There could be, it's not extremely loud, but the notion is there that there could be that there's a realization on the table. Someone was kind of like, they kind of realized something about the person that they were with. They either kind of realized something to the extent of that they never loved them, or that they finally maybe might understand at least way better than what they ever did, what love is. And they realized that they were so far away from it, and that part of it was like the person that they were with, that they kind of, that they stopped, and they were like reevaluating the situation. And I think to a certain extent, even though they don't necessarily fancy themselves as an extremely spiritual person, they might have felt like the situation that they were in wasn't balanced, and that they weren't sure how they felt about that for themselves, as far as like what they consider to be fair to themselves in this lifetime. So we also have this Five of Cups, which is a betrayal energy. I don't think that this is necessarily going on now. I think that this is something from the past. And I think that as we evaluate our situation, we kind of look at it, this, and this. We didn't see it for a really long time, but we sort of see it now. So as we look back and we see the things that were upside down about our situation, we start to see kind of what was upside down about it. And we want to rearrange that. We don't even care if we do right, like as far as trying to figure out what we wanted and getting close to it, as long as we're not in this. Like well, that Five of Cups is giving me sadness. Now we're in a King of Cups energy underneath this tower upside down. This Five of Cups is giving me sadness. I mean, usually the Five of Cups does, but this Five of Cups, I think, more so than the guy who's standing with his back to the card while the cups are tipped over around him. Because that card kind of denotes hope, like there's cups that are upright, whereas this one, there are no cups. And it's almost like whatever we had, whatever we wanted in that relationship was either taken from us or never given to us in the first place. And we are just like this, in this realization situation, we're just realizing that we never had it. Like that, just what was happening basically. And that whole realization is very jarring because we thought we had a good life. Yeah. We thought that, you know, we were kind of on top, like we were winning. And it's funny because that notion is a little foreign to me, but I do know that people sometimes will think that they're, you know, like life is a game and they're winning, you know. And now they're realizing, yes, that they did it wrong. They're more evolved now than they were when they started, for sure. But they're also more evolved now than they were when they realized what was happening, even if it was 2 days ago. They sort of, you know, woke up, shook their head, and kind of said, all right, no longer do I want to be here at all. This is on the bottom of the deck I'm about to use. That King of Cups energy is, yeah, it's weird. It's a little bit exasperated. Even, like I said, even if this happened 2 days ago, because the realization hit this person so hard that, they are so over it that to them this game or whatever it was that they were winning, they don't really want to play anymore. And by that I mean that they kind of feel like their strategy was a little off, and so they kind of feel like, you know, if they're going to continue to play this game, that they're going to do it way differently. That over there is the Three of Pentacles. First of all, they understand that when they do it again, when they're ready to do it again, because right now they're not so much. They're still in this Five of Swords energy. Whenever they think about a relationship, they sort of, their memory and their anxiety and their belief system bites them in the ass. So they're not actually ready. But when they do want to get ready, they're going to expect that the other person meet them halfway. They're going to expect that when there is work to be done, whatever it is, that they're going to have help, because they're not going to do it in a way that's alone. They're alone anymore. They want somebody who will at least, be responsible enough to meet some of the things that they think are required in a relationship. They are recognizing right now that they had made sacrifices when they chose their significant other. They either made sacrifices right then and there, or they just made sacrifices because they didn't know any better to begin with, and now they see what they did, and they're kind of like at a point where they're not really messing with anything like that anymore. Yeah, they, I was going to say, are almost closed off to even, like even if somebody did step forward and they were a match and they weren't playing around, they're almost closed off to that. Yeah, they're going to need a little bit of time to get used to the idea of sharing with another. Like I said, this Five of Swords energy, this Lover's energy, it's not helping out. And then we have this Five of Swords energy now in reverse on top of this Death in reverse and this High Priestess in reverse. I think that this is like a kind of like a realization of, if I had known better, if I had been willing to possibly like end the thing, if I had seen like something going on with it that I didn't particularly like. In other words, if I had had deal breakers, that I wouldn't have necessarily had to go through this Five of Swords energy, because I would have stopped it way beyond that. Like I said, this tower symbolizes the fact that, hey, if you want to do this, we'll let you do this till the end of time. And so this person's like, I could have realized this a lot sooner if I had basically paid attention, if I'd had standards, if I'd had some kind of deal-breaking point with the things that I had acknowledged were important to me. That wouldn't have happened. Yeah. So this King of Wands in reverse on top of this King of Cups and this Tower in reverse kind of tells me that they've lost it's kind of like what I said, they're not ready. They've lost the passion for the idea of the relationship. Even though the Lovers are here on the table, like I said, the Five of Swords is underneath it, and the Wheel of Fortune is on top of it upside down. Now, I don't want to skip the Knight of Swords. So as we're in this, I can't even be passionate about relationships anymore. We're sort of in this, well, where do I go? What do I do? Because, which way, George? Because we have this Knight of Cups energy that we really we don't want to waste. And then we have this Six of Wands energy, which is kind of like we feel a little defeated, and we feel a little like, even if we weren't in this lack of excitement for the new relationship, this Six of Wands would kind of put us in a, I don't know, should I try it again? We're almost back here of, well, should I stay here or should I do something else? I don't know. Should I try this again? I wasn't successful last time, and I really came with my heart, and I did. I showed up, and I got this Five of Swords, and for some reason I still have this heart, this like where I want to give love, or where now I feel like something's missing because of the realization I had, something that tells me that now I'm missing something and I want to go get it. Meanwhile, we have this Wheel of Fortune, which is in reverse, which the Wheel of Fortune for me a lot lately has been like divine timing, but divine timing for me has been a lot different lately. And so with this Wheel of Fortune in reverse card, you know, on top of the Lovers and this like Five of Swords energy, I feel like it's like, for Wheel of Fortune in reverse for me normally would be like the it's not moving, like whatever is happening, it's not moving, or it's moving backwards, which isn't really a thing, but you know, I do feel in I the possibility of like losing ground. And so for me, the Wheel of Fortune is sort of like that. You know, again, if we were a great candidate for like some type of relationship that we were supposed to have in this lifetime, but then we went through another relationship before that kind of like made us to where we were a little bit different, a little bit less susceptible to the qualities that person that we were inching towards, like they're not compatible, or we just, now all of a sudden we have this fear that we're not good enough, then that's kind of in a sense moving backwards when you're trying to meet someone new. And for the most part, I think in this particular reading, I think that a lot of these people who kind of realized that if they sat, that they were basically in the bed, that they were gonna have to lie in the bed that they were making, I think they moved. They didn't necessarily have to completely break up with somebody, but emotionally they understood what was happening, and they understood what they needed to do to free themselves from the feeling of not really giving themselves a chance. That, I don't remember how I put it earlier, but like that chance at a good life, or a, you know, what they deserved kind of a thing. Like they kind of inherently, they knew this. The Magician in the Mirror a lot of times is my empath card, or my empath and or light worker card. And lately this Magician has been like a symbol, or any Magician card has been like a symbol of, you know, somebody getting themselves out of the situation that they're in so that they can get themselves in another situation that's better. They've been getting resistance. Whoever this is, if it's you or someone else, they've been getting resistance. There's a energy that's holding them back, and it's making it hard to switch into another situation. And at first it was causing anxiety, and now I think it's like it possibly causing like anxiety and like lack of sleep, which is adding to the anxiety and everything else, because well, I was going to say it's keeping them away from the carrying connections, but then it also volunteered this card, which was, I have a feeling that the reason why the person is having so much trouble is because they're trying to hold on to stuff from the other situation that isn't, it's not compatible with what they want. I'm trying to figure out which way, if I can pull the energy off of that. I think to a certain extent, it's many different ways. I think to a certain extent, it's not even necessarily toxic qualities from another relationship. It could just be a quality that's attached to that person themselves, the person that they're saying goodbye to, that's creating this, this almost like an association of love equals loss. And so even if somebody wanted to move forward or something like that, they have this like, you know, it's almost like this, like they're moving towards a hole. Like I said, with this Wheel of Fortune upside down, it's almost like they're moving towards this, well, yeah, I guess if I want to have a love again, but then it's, I'm just going to lose them kind of mentality, because again, like I said, they're still in this Five of Swords energy of, you know, something's going to happen, or something's going to be done, or, you know, these hostilities that I'm seeing here, they don't even necessarily denote like a person who is like interfering. It could literally be like energies, like some type of energy where it's just like somehow every time somebody wants to move or do something, something gets in the way that could not possibly know what they're going to do next. But here we are with being inhibited, and then we have Forget Who You Are, which for me is my card of programming. someone told you that something was a certain way. It could be how the person got themselves into that situation to begin with. They thought love was something different because of what they were told, or just what they were shown. And now that makes it worse because, this is the right way. I was just going to say that makes it worse because now this person understands that the person that they thought they were is completely different than who they actually are. And now they have to actually, because they know all this and can't unsee it, they actually have to figure out who they are so that this doesn't happen again. Regardless of whatever invisible energies are showing themselves. Let's get one more card. Whoa, this one went on the floor. Set your course. So, I'm trying to see the message on it. Know where you wish to go. Have a plan, the right direction. So I feel like it goes back a little bit to what I said about when they're ending the thing that they were in. They want to have like a kind of a place in a direction that they want to go. They want to acknowledge, they'd start with the fact that they acknowledge what they had inside of themselves that they wanted in a relationship that they let go to be with this person, or maybe that they didn't know, even though they had it inside them that they didn't know. And so they let, this person choose against that thing. And there was so many of those things that this person realizes now that if they had just either known, noticed, spoke up, asserted themselves in some way about the things that they wanted in a relationship, that they would have been 1,000 times happier. So I think they also do acknowledge the fact that they didn't know. But like I said, knowing now is causing a little bit of pain because it kind of messes with their idea of what a relationship entails. They understand now that it entails a little bit of like work. And they also have to realize that when they're going somewhere and they're moving towards, something, that the person that they connect with, they need to do it with somebody who has like similar interests, who's moving in the same direction, who's moving the same way, because they realize now that otherwise it's a possibility that they're not a match for that other person. And again, highlighting the fact that if they're still with this other person, that when they were like, hey, do I want to keep doing this? That really highlighting the fact of how much they don't belong. They don't belong together. The person doesn't even have to be a bad person. It's just what they see. So, one suppressed message down. Let's get to the others. Until we meet again.